All right. Yeah. Um, this is a conversation. I yeah. Okay. So I'm on. So basically, doing readings, working with clients, wrapping up the day. Um, and okay. So earlier we described talking about. Hold on. Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. Dreams. We were talking about the dreams and so forth. That's where we were at. Oh yeah, I don't need this anymore. Right. The dream stuff. Yeah, those dreams earlier that we talked about the last live, those dreams were intense. They were very much intense. And it's they're very powerful. And as I begin to have maybe other things that I can share, I definitely will relay that information because I think it's helpful for people who it's meant for. I know that not everyone are seeking to, uncover, what their their interpretation of their dreams. They may think, oh, it's just a dream, it's nothing. But some people are curious, and some people are curious even about the exploration of dreams. So I definitely want to share that information, but absolutely decided to go with the readings, with the psychic readings, with clients. Uh, to I put paid readers. I meant paid readings. And I probably did that out of facetiousness. So yeah, I probably did that out of. But here, let me put. But that's my title. You got to respect my title. I know people. I know. Well, then we'll just be upset about it. Then it's like, okay, you know, it's like, well, we just want to recommend. Like, um, well, uh, then it's just another fact of life and reality that is goes unaccepted. It goes, I guess, it goes avoided, I guess. But I wanted this title, for this one, and it represents that yes, I am a psychic, but I'm also a working professional expert. And yes, I work with clients. And, I want to have one live where I'm having this very specific conversation about the fact that I do this for as this is my job to do. I am chosen not only by universe, but I'm also chosen by famous psychics to read with their clients. I'm going to do this live is completely about celebrating my achievement in the industry of being a successful working psychic. What I do that means whenever I get out of bed and I begin my day and I'm in preparation. Some of you are cleaning out your utensils, some of you are getting your pen and paper together, you're loading up, the paper in the printing machine. I am getting my tarot cards in alignment and getting my spirit guides in agreement because for the entire duration of the day, I am going to be available to my clients who are paying clients to have spiritual conversation, spiritual slash sometimes religious conversation, and also mental or psychological, emotional conversations. And it's about their waking world life and also about like mundane things, right? Day-to-day practical things, but also again, it's also about things that are relative to life, like life as in maybe along the lines of their personal world. They like to work in the garden. It could be as simple as that. Like, how does their pets field today. So I work in a broad area, and all that it's for is to enrich people's lives. That's all that the information, the types of information that I share. It also gets people like the encouragement of getting them away from, a very negative or toxic life ideas or concepts that may not be in their best favor because it could be negative, in some cases. I know this, I'm probably gonna, like, as they say, throw lives. I know this is a taboo subject. Psychics, number one. Two, wait a minute, psychics getting paid. So I'm going to start doing periodically do lives in reflection to me doing lives as a professional, so that I know that people, when they come in, they're thinking, like I didn't wake up one day and just decide to make a YouTube profile and call myself a psychic. I'm greater than a self-proclaimed psychic. Like, there's self-proclaimed prophets, self-proclaimed psychics. I'm neither of those. I am a proven, trusted psychic. And yes, I am paid. I get paid. I am paid through my clients, by clients. And I call them clients. Yes, they are my clients, and they're not my audience. I'm not like self-proclaimed psychic, and to your audience, you're proclaiming to be a psychic. No, that is not my description. My description is I am a selected and trusted psychic who reads for my with the clients of famous psychics, right? Who entrust me to work with their clients. And the clients, they pay me to read with them. Okay? So I want to be clear. So I'm doing a live reading for this. I'm doing this entire live reading is to say this entire next live, how long am I here, is to tell you, number one, I am not a self-proclaimed. I didn't just decide. I think, I'm feeling psychic. I'm gonna create a profile and I feel like I want to share some intuition, or God's in my ear. Oh my gosh, I got to pass along this information. No, I am not a self-proclaimed prophet or a self-proclaimed psychic. No, I am a tested, well experienced psychic who works with real clients in real life outside the camera. When I turn on my camera, now I'm psychic. When I turn off the camera, I'm just me. No, I was psychic before I turned on this live. I was doing readings with clients in real life. I turned on the camera, and now I'm doing readings in real life in front of the camera. Does that make sense? All right. I'm making sure that you all understand that this is if you want to say, this is my livelihood. This is how I can drink my tea, how I can, talk to you all right now through the internet. I'm able to sign in through like anybody else. Well, I use the Google, go through the Google and sign in, and I'm in YouTube. I'm able to, go to the For You page on. This is how I'm able to do it. Okay, I just want to be clear. So I rely on my intuition. Some people rely on their mathematical abilities, the ability to computate. I rely on my ability to make sure that I have a clear mind, no drugs, no alcohol, no psychological damage, no psychic attacks. That I deal with all of that. I'm a metaphysical practitioner. That's my training in school and university, higher education, metaphysical sciences. This is my cup, University Metaphysical International. So I can go in, I can basically, as I do with my clients, I will go and do work with myself too, as a practitioner of metaphysics, and I apply those things, those tools into my life to make sure that I'm healthy enough and clear-minded enough to help people with real life issues. There are problematic issues, as much as you can think of, from abuse in relationships, getting out of abusive relationships, from working on the mental, to keep healthy and to protect the mental, to protect self, not want to, do something that, goodness, what we don't want to be without anybody. So we work on those subjects. Is there you go. We work with those who are grieving. We work with those who, out of the blue, have been fired. Oh my gosh, I'm just right now. I'm just shaking. I'm still shaking. I can't believe it. I gave them my all. I gave them years. We work with people from that point going forward. To get them in the mental capacity to once again take life by the reins, and they want to understand, well, why this, what happened, and what's going on with them. What if I take them to court, or what if I contact you know uh, my group, and maybe we can go after them. So yeah, we do deal with it all. My teens, before they went to college, now they're in college, and the change and shift of our relationship. You know, yeah, we deal with it all. People wanting, couples wanting babies. So we deal with so much life things that people do not even fathom. And yes, I'm not self-proclaimed anything. I am selected in my field, because of my experience and my gifts, my talents, my skills, and then I am given a placement because I'm trusted in the position, and then I work with people all day. So that's where I want to make sure that I'm saying that. I know it's a very taboo. I know it's like, oh gosh, we're not going to recommend it. We're not going to. Yeah, well, then that's fine. I'm going to do this periodically because you need to hear it. And I don't think you should be nice to people who are not nice. You don't need to be nice, and I think, as you say, but you got to be respectful and humble and politically nice, because it's psychics. No, not to people who are not nice people. So you need to hear it this way, because the way that you speak is then very nice, and it's not a very pleasant experience. Even I wouldn't consider working with you with that energy. If you actually were a client and you called and that's the tone you have with me, I would actually decline the call. I politely would end the call with you, even if you were paying. You say, but I'm paying. I would still say, but I don't feel comfortable proceeding with our reading today, and I would like to end the call here. And I would, of course, you get your money back, and of course, you can then be referred to somebody else who you might feel more comfortable with, or somebody you would. In other words, that's my coded word of saying somebody you would treat more politely, having experienced that that look. If you're not polite, I'll just simply end the call. So you'd experience it with me, and then the next psychic, I would just hope that you treat better. So yeah, so that's why I think you have to get used to the idea that you know psychic people or spiritual people, yes, we do. It is for profit. If churches are nonprofit, they have some things that are linked up, like that is like, I guess, would be for profit, but psychics are, in their nature of their business, actually, just so that everybody's clear on a page, it is you should think of it like this: for profit unless said otherwise. When it comes to psychics, it's the other way around when it comes to like clergy. Like, if you think of clergy, you're gonna think it's nonprofit, 501c3, unless stated otherwise. Like, hey, this is the book. This is personally how you can support me. I published it, but I tell you, I am gonna give 60% or 80% of the proceeds will go to something that we can, whatever like for the whatever we're doing for the building, or whatever we're doing for the church, or whatever we're doing for maybe, I doubt if it would be associated with food drive, but it may have like other kind of maybe educational programs and materials. So it might have something like that. So again, it's flip side when it comes to psychics. Guarantee it's for profit unless that psychic says, hey, I am a psychic or a spiritualist, but I also started a 501c3, so I am a nonprofit, and then they're letting you know, yes, yeah, they're receiving donations, etc., but it's for to further their ministry experience or their spiritual experience, and it could be for various reasons. It could be to purchase location for the time frame, or rent a space for them to do the work that they do for or serving the community. But mine, the nature of mine is for profit. Okay, so and the reason that, well, what makes you any more capable than the next? Well, that I'm glad that you asked. Well, I know this is a taboo conversation, and but the way that you all make up the rules, but at the same time the rules never change, and it's nothing about the bar moving. I am the bar, and I'm always moving, but it's just that you don't know, you're not moving any closer to respectful engagement. So I have to, like, right now take charge of that and like say, look, hey, let me tell you what I don't can't speak for everybody, all the other psychics, but generally speaking, definitely psychics are for profit businesses. Now, I'm saying that, well, what makes you any greater or better? Well, like I said, I'm linked with the top companies in the USA. I have five, besides having 5-star rating, but yes, I have 5-star ratings from real people who also, they don't just give me 5 stars. No, they're 5 stars and they say why. They say, they like, more than, oh, he's awesome. No, they explain, and they sometimes they even explain where they're from, and so there you have it, and they explain our conversation that they've shared with me, and then likewise in Europe, which is, so that covers the international word. Why are you international? That's because I work with people beyond the America, beyond the United States. So that's why it's international ministries and metaphysics, right? So my work reaches all beyond boundaries and into other countries. So yeah, and Europe is the one where I have, like, there's 5 famous psychics, and then I'm entrusted to read with their clients. So that's what I do. Okay, does that clear it up? That's why I'm just letting you know, that's what this live is specifically to, in that conversation. So then you say, well, why haven't you asked us? Why aren't you promoting yourself as? Because I don't require anything of you. I just want to come in and do lives. I've been doing my psychic readings before you come along, before I even decided that I was going to start going live on YouTube, and start before I started caring about watch hours. I was sitting over here doing readings while watching your lives. I was always doing readings in real life. So this is what I'm doing in real life. The This channel here, I want to create a space, my YouTube channel, to um, more or less to continue the professional work at the level that I just described. I have all of the famous stuff, the backing and amazing things, and amazing. I'm in amazing space. I'm healed. I'm healing. I'm shared with, and I'm sharing with others. So I want to channel that level of expert and professionalism into my YouTube channel. Okay. And then someday, as the YouTube channel grows, I'll start writing books, and I start doing live venues. I hope this is beginning to make sense. So, yes, um, when we have different conversations, I'm going to speak with you or to you. Okay, in my mind, I think I'm speaking with you, but it's just with the directions in which the conversation goes. That's when I start speaking at you, and I don't want to feel like I'm speaking at you. I want to speak with you. That's why I'm saying, well, if you ask me an authentic question, Um, Usually the way the conversations tend to go is okay, so I'm talking, right, I'm talking about what I want to talk about. I'm talking about, I said, well, I'm going to start talking about the fact that I actually am, a professional psychic, and yes, I do get paid. I know that's taboo. I know that's like, ooh, yuck. It gives me, gives you the heebie jeebies. It gives you bumps on the back of your neck. But listen, I do this, it is for profit, and I just want you to be clear on that. Like, let it hit your ears. You need to know that, yes, I do work with my gifts that I chose to cultivate and develop, and to be able to apply skillfully with anybody, with any race, with any gender, with anyone on any continent of the world, and give them a professional answer to a question, or to, in other words, I never ask questions. I wouldn't even know what to ask a person, because everybody's lives are so sophisticated, especially when you don't even know the culture of the person. They could have a completely different culture than your own, and they're just based on that. Like, what kind of questions are you going to ask somebody who's not, they're not as maybe freely moving in the moral department, like, like the Western culture. Here you are speaking with an Eastern culture, which I have had readings with people, and they just simply, for things that we take for granted, they just simply would not ever act on certain things because it's not in their culture to do so. It's almost like it's unheard of. It's kind of like when you visit a person's home and you walk in, but you don't close the door behind you, and you're like the last one in. That kind of thing. What, you're the last one in, you didn't think to close the door. Like there's people who literally their tone is that. I'm telling you, that's in some parts of the world. That's exactly. But at the same time, they also still, which is fascinating, they still have, no matter where they are in the world, they still have something going on in their life that everybody in the world can relate to. And like falling in love, or like the way that relationships flow, these kinds of things. So, that's it's always fascinating. That's why I love reading for different people, including the U.S., because I like the differences, with the U.S. style of readings. But I just, want to be extra, extra clear in this matter, that I'm not, what do you call it? I'm not a poser. I'm not trying to be something that I am already. I'm not here. Here I went and got me, a few decks of tarot cards. Now I'm trying to pose as a psychic, and I get started at this age. But no, when I like I if I can say, and I have the organization to vouch for me. When I was the youngest, which would have put me in my early teens, to join in a psychic organization. I even know what state it's in, and I can go visit them anytime I choose, and they will know who I am. I have also served on in two positions of the board, and yeah, so I really do come from the metaphysical community. When I say that, I mean I can tell you an actual location where I, stood in roles, and also where I participated in the metaphysical community, and also providing services publicly. So yeah, and I talk about that story all the time. Like from I learned how to trifold. For example, we used to do like 15 to 3,000 of them before we go to lunch, which, and our favorite. I even remember where we like to go. We like to go to all kinds of, but our favorite place to go was for Chinese. Yeah. So welcome. I'm English speaking. I'm English speaking, and welcome everybody. So I'm just like letting everybody know that I'm a psychic, and yeah, so I'm a psychic. I'm professional, and I also protect my public image, because I am in the public image. So I'm very careful about things, and my clients I love. My lovers are my spirits, and I don't know any of you, so I won't be giving that back to you. But I just will say a nice polite hello. And I'm gonna speak the way that I like to speak, which is more like educational. So you have to get used to that. If that bothers you, you might want to leave because my personality isn't going to change. Welcome. It's a pleasure. Donald here. Okay. That will be fine. Okay. A pleasure. Welcome. Hi. And how would we like to begin? Absolutely. I love it when you guys guide me. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay, all right. Let's look at that one. I'm in this right now. Okay, I see you. So it's everything you just said. I know your mind is like moving 100 miles per hour. I'm picking up on that is in the business relationship there must going to be a sudden change, like this is a setting like going forward. It feels like we're given an option here. I don't see you upset because I do get the feeling that like maintaining your, like I see you with like working, and like it's still like my job, your way of making money, like you still seem secure, like going forward. And I'm also seeing holding the coin, you're able to go forward with work finally and just work, and this is behind you. That I believe that in some case, in some way, you're gonna feel relieved. Maybe like emotionally, like maybe on the conscience, this may weigh on the mind a bit. Like, did you fully, were you fully heard, for example? Like, do they understand your point of view? That this part might be a little tricky. So, because it could be a bit stressful because you might feel like it was like this seems like it's me versus them energetically. I'm being like you're being challenged, but at the same time, it's like it's like, well, why do they get to feel like they're somewhat have some kind of relief, and when they don't, and I feel like, it's rather than like sometimes we want to say, well, who's at fault? And it's like it's not being very spelled out very clearly, like, well, who's at fault? It's more like, how do we get to move on from here? So it feels like you will get your understanding across to them. That seems to be like when you say, well, what's the takeaway that I could have that lets me know that I'm still successful or I'm in a good way, is literally because you're saying, I at least got my point across, like how I felt about things, and I stood strong in that. And, and then I get to now move forward with my work, and still I'm holding, a position, and I'll go and make money now. I get to go forward. But yes, you're coming up as money all throughout the reading. They show signs of you maintaining work. It's for work long term, even getting together with this company that has the complaint, to continue working. So it's like money, making money. That is part of your experience in all of this as well. It's just that emotional side that might be, like you said, well, are there any disappointments? Maybe emotionally, maybe consciously, in a conscious way. It might, as again, weighing the conscience, like, did they fully understand what I meant by everything? Mhm. I definitely believe there will not necessarily. I don't see a need for another meeting. No, I'm not really seeing that. Like a need for a meeting. That's very specific. I would say no in that regard. I don't see that. Because it seems like they have what they need, and it's a matter of, okay, like what who's gonna get what? I felt like they're gonna get some kind of conversation, like a reprimand, like the person, when if it can be in words like, hey, this is what I'm pointing out, you could have done it this way, or you could have come to us when it got too much, so we didn't have to arrive here like this today. People in the higher level consider that conversation to be a reprimand, and something that's like that person will always remember that they had that conversation. So I do believe that they're going to get some repercussions, but it seems like it's more interpret it to them than rather like something that now on our side you might be thinking, wow, nothing happened with them, they didn't get it, what, they got a slap on the wrist or what, did they, what's going to happen with them so far as like a, like, something like a, do they get written up? But it's like it gets documented by words is what I picked up on, kind of like a nice scolding a little bit, conversationally being taught or guided through like how to deal with this in a future type of situation, that they don't see them as completely innocent, by the way, in case you care to know. That's why I think they're going to side with you in a lot of ways, but no new meetings though. Sure. Oh, no, no. This is illustrating when you're thinking about like what's going to happen with the other side. Do they get written up or do they get reprimanded? And the answer is they are the ones who are getting, well, they, in conversation, they more or less get told how they could have done things differently. See that okay, I want to pick up that. We're thinking that, and therefore, if they're at fault, we're thinking, well, shouldn't they get a harsher punishment? But that's not, also the conscience part and our emotional part that I said that might be the, when you said anything, kind of bad, that's gonna, like, things I'm not gonna be happy with. This part is what I felt that you wouldn't be happy with, because like you said, it's more their fault, and but they don't speak and say that like it's their fault. They don't outright say that, and they don't punish them like it's their fault. That's going to bother us. Even as they allow us to continue our work, they said, whatever they need to say to us, like, be good from here on out, fine. And we have the job, we're making money, we're still bothered by the fact that, but it was their fault. And why didn't they get called out on that? Like, why didn't it more forcefully, like, punish them? Why does it feel like they're getting a slap on the wrist? That part is going to be bothering us. I'm going to be honest with you in that part. I mean, well, I'm always honest, but this is very clear. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm so glad you brought that part up, like it's their fault. Yeah. So we have to work through those emotions. The fact that, yeah, I mean, they punished them as much as they were going to, but I would have liked or hoped that they would get more than just a talking to, a firm talking to, and kind of like written up mentally about it, something, a conversation that they'll always remember they had, or because it feels like, well, if they won't be able to ask for something, like, should they want to maybe climb the ladder, it would be more challenging because of this conversation. Maybe that might, the way it plays out, make it difficult for them to, move about with all eyes on them, wondering if they have learned from this conversation or not. But that's feel like a reprimand of some sort, but it's verbal. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Right. Right. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Right. But here, this one belongs to you. This is the one. This is the one that belongs to you. Yours is meant to continue making money. Like you get your conversation, and basically they more or less allow you to continue working and continue to do business. And all throughout your reading, that one, as I mentioned earlier, that one is yours. And let me tell you about the reprimand. The word reprimand sounds like a punishment. Their issue is they weren't punished enough. So let's keep that there. But let's look at exactly when you say reprimand, what do I mean? First of all, it's not the clearly it's not the punishment you and would like to see happen, right? So what they're talking about is that so it's not going to be they're not going to be punished. It felt like enough or punished enough, and the kind of but then what is the reprimand then? It's more like two business people sitting together in a meeting, right? And then it's going positive. Yeah, we see what you mean. Then it stops and says, however, we got to look at this. You could have did it this way, and maybe you should have navigated this way. Then this could be avoided. Like there's other ways that we could approach this so that it makes sense. So it's more like like I mentioned, it's a conversation. All it is all verbal. It's nothing written down. So that's why we're saying it's not what we think of as a punishment. And that's right, which is yours is that fact that you finally kind of get to get on with business and continue working. That's so you're it's not the kind of punishment that you and I are thinking. Like I don't see you getting like a slap on the wrist. I don't see it's where like, oh, yours is not documented. It's more like it's like, well, it's back to business as usual, and you continue like to continue to do the amazing work that you do. That's what they say you get out of it, and all they get is a conversation and a meeting of like play fair type of conversation. Like, hey, we got to play fair, and hey, next time, just like let us know right away, things like that. Or you should have done it this way. Maybe you should have completed the task and then brought it up later. Then write it like a, well, we did the work, but we just thought it would be easier. Something like to that effect. It's gonna be very conversational, kind of like play fair or type of like how to catch things before it blows up later type of situation. So yeah, I don't see the kind of trouble that we would that we're thinking like, oh my gosh, what you could imagine, what you could put them through, right? If you had any say in this, like to really point out that hey, you really are in the wrong, and you got to take take accountability. But they're not. That's not the position that your company will take with them. They're going to be very friendly, conversational, like bring them into the conversation, come together, we'll work it out, we'll work through this and work together. And by the way, next time, just let me know straight away. That way, we can get it done as it's happening and kind of keep a smooth business going. That's the way they sound. They sound like they're in a business meeting. Hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Sure. Right. Right. Okay. Well, we're gonna. The way that I read, she won't be able to hide it. Her guides are gonna say it exactly what she's doing. So you're gonna know now. Okay. So what I sense is she is more like you're definitely gonna see a change in her. Like it's like she was nice before, and now she's not gonna be so not like her true self because in a position, the other one, she was too vulnerable to be, let's say, gossipy or backstabbing or just mean. like the bad parts of her personality. Like when you get to know her, like you get to know her, turns out she's not very, very good. But that's what she's like eyeing this new position. Like she wants to grow. But yeah, she is definitely taking the side, I would say her own side, or maybe the dominant side. She doesn't seem like she would be like on the side of, let's say, yourself, in the situation that you're in currently. She will not, because she's thinking of, well, what about me, and how can I, what can I get out of this experience. Also, she's a bit of a dreamy eye, so she will look for opportunities, in other words, when it's safe, and then act on those opportunities. So I would say that she could come out to be a user. But but opportunist, I know that, well, this is the world of business, but I mean, she really will, like you said, be nice to you in the beginning until she grows wings, and then she's not so nice anymore, for example. Mm-hmm. Right. You're right. Right. She's very dreamy. She will it's like I see her eyes, and then let's say she starts to see an opportunity where she can get around you. She'll take the opportunity rather than, let's say, ask you, "Hey, could you help me?" She'll use the route to get around you. So you have to kind of keep an eye out for her. Like she's not the one to tell vulnerable situation to. Yep. Yes. Yes. Mhm. Yeah, that's her opportunity side. Is if there's a way that you can deny her, that would be your power. That'd be so easy. Maybe that's a little too easy, and maybe that's not something possible. But if you could, because this is her way of looking at opportunity to take from you. Because that's when I say opportunities, she becomes dreamy. She starts to romanticize taking things from you, like being you, and empowering herself. Meaning she's asking for things that are related to you, that she has to come through you to get, and then find a way to get it from you. If that makes sense. Right. And so that by her asking, literally, like you said, she's asking for my tools and things like that, and to think my work. That's what we're talking about. She's eyeing to build up her image from by taking away from you. And of course, the easiest, maybe it's too easy, is to deny her or make it easy for her or make it where she has to give you credit for your work, if something like to that effect. So you don't, it's not like she's stripping you from like your power, taking your power, that feeling of take your power taken. Because yeah, she's definitely trying to do that right now, specifically that part. Like you said, she's trying to ask me for my things. I'm like, why are you asking me for when you're the one put in charge of it all? Like she should be to say, hey, could you come do this, come do that, or I know how if you trust me with it, or tell me what to do, and I can do it in the way that you would want, But instead, she's like, no, give it to me, and then she wants to take the reins and run with it. And so you kind of have to like block that if you can, if it's possible. Of course, don't do anything that works against your best interest. But if there's a way to stop that or make her have to go through take some professional steps to get things that she needs, then maybe that's an okay. Maybe that's a good one. That is noted that this is your work and she's just there to help rather than taking your energy, taking your power is what she's trying to do. But no one can really take your power, but they can. It's the way it looks, the optics, like you said. It looks like she's taking your role. When your role, you're installed in your role for a reason. You're there to work, and she has her role, but she's trying to fit into yours. Hmm. Yes. Yeah. Don't let her extract your progress from you. Absolutely not. You might have to deny her or have her do some requirements first, to make sure you get credit first, and then maybe cut her in a little bit if you need to. You know, was it, first of all, is it beneficial to you to allow this? You know, like have it kind of think of it like that. Hmm. Better? Yes. Absolutely. You know, what I love about these next 2 weeks, that lion, Leo the lion, the lioness, she's going to have you roar. When you need to use your inner voice, or monologue, it's going to come out. And that's backed by Mars and Mercury working together. You're going to be like, look, look, this is my work. It might say, I would never have said that. I don't know where that came from. That's because Leo kind of, like patted you on the back, and you said, blah. You just said it, and it's like, oh my gosh, I said that, and it's like, yep, you did. And Leo's like smiling at you, like high fiving. It's like, you did it. You said it. You said, yeah, this is my work, and I can see it through. What do you need? Exactly, what do you need? Like, you like, oh, I don't know where this came from. So I apologize. It's like, spirit is like, don't need to apologize. It's whatever is said now. It's kind of like, what is done is done. So I love Leo right now, working with us introverted people, that find it difficult to speak up, and we should. And so, yeah, yeah, you will be front and center stage. Also, it looks good for you because since we're not allowed to like disappear in the background, you need to be visible right now because of all the situation that's going on. You also able to say what you say, but mean and be heard what you say. A pleasure. Have a great day. Oh gosh. Oh, let. She's a bit of She sounds Irish. I think she's Irish. I definitely could pick up some of the Irish. So anyway, she's a lot of fun to read. Oh, what I that is called profiling. I love profiling work. Profiling. Do you profile? Yes. I love to profile. Profiling means work. Profiling has a lot to do with um like profiling is when you're able to kind of like look at different people. It could be locations, businesses. I use it to also discern like which colleges that people are going to attend. Also, I look for like people, you know,